So are you saying we're finished? Are you saying they won and it's over? The chess game's over?
Well, we're not in checkmate yet, but they're heading toward that. They're moving.
Wait, what do you mean we're not in checkmate yet? The Defense Secretary, William Gates, just the other day said it's wonderful to cut the nukes by 30%. Everywhere you turn, he's a rubber stamp for Obama. He's never said one word that Obama hasn't agreed with. Or shall I put it the other way? Whatever Obama does, Robert Gates checks and says yes.
Well, it looks like mass insanity, but what's the end result going to be? We're going to have to rely on the UN for control, and that's what some of these people, the behind-the-scenes thing is. They want world government. Now, I've only studied really the communist part of the movement, but there are other parts of the movement for world government, and if you take away the threat, the fear of the communist world movement, that means that those people then unite with the world socialists and the other globalists, even among...
All right, look at this study. This is from New York Times, CBS, two far-left outlets, correct? Even that poll just came out minutes ago. 52% say Obama moving America towards socialism. That's astonishing, Jimmy.
Yeah, but see, some people don't mind it. Like, in other words, it's a bad thing to you and me and your listeners, but other people, that's not a negative. It's like pointing out somebody's a communist. That no longer has that negative stigma it used to and should still have. Did you see the New York Post the other day? Arthur Herman had an editorial, "The Bear is Back," and he says, excuse me, anyone who imagined we won the Cold War had better think again. That's Arthur Herman in the New York Post. The Bear is Back, Tuesday, April 13th.
No, I didn't see that one. But I'm shocked that the New York Times and CBS would run a poll where they actually ask the question whether the president's policies, quote, are moving the country toward more socialism, and 52% answered towards socialism.
Like I said,
so it's almost as though the New York Times and CBS are boasting about it. It's almost as though they're trying to expose or out the whole socialist movement in the United States of America because they agree with it.
That's right. Remember, the Times supported Stalin. They actually had a secret agreement with Stalin to not do any negative reporting on what's going on in the Soviet Union, so they covered up the 10
Wait a minute. There's no difference between what the Times did with Stalin and what that Nobel Prize-winning putz, Friedman, or if he ever won one, had the audacity 3 weeks ago to give a speech where he said, our system is a cumbersome, inefficient system. In times of crisis, we should have a ruling elite which gives us our guidelines of what we should do. Don't you remember that? I was shocked by this.
That is exactly what the communists say. Ralph Peters the other day said, we're playing checkers, our enemies are playing
I know,
chess.
Playing chess. That's an old one. Ralph does very good work, and I don't want to negate him in any way, but let's go back to this again. Look what I just said. Look what just came up. The fact of the matter is the New York Times now has columnists who are glorifying communist China and getting away with it as though this is perfectly normal to do.
They said Mao was an agrarian reformer, a Chinese George Washington. They said the same thing about Castro. They said that about Daniel Ortega. The old gray lady is a slut, and she has a lot of blood on her hands.
On her skirts. Yeah, let's leave it at that. Well, Jimmy, I don't know what to do. Can I give you a free book, a hat, a cup, a shoe? What would you...
You could give me for free. I need anything for free I could get now.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear it. Well, you'd be a hell of a researcher, Jimmy.
I've been doing
it's a shame a man with your intelligence isn't working in some policy institute. What happened to the conservative think tanks in America? Why wouldn't they hire a man like you?
Well, I guess because I'm a high school dropout and I don't speak the King's English, and also I've discredited a lot of people who keep saying we won the Cold War, so they put their own...
Yeah, but you know, high school dropout doesn't mean anything. I know several people who are high school dropouts who are running rings around PhDs, by the way. So don't underestimate the lack of education as a reflection of a lack of intelligence. Jimmy, hold on a minute. Before you go, let's go to, you said something earlier, Institute of Policy Studies. Who is that? Who runs that?
That was set up in the early to mid-'60s by a Russian communist who came to America. He used to own Fabergé Cosmetics. He sold it, and with that money, they used to found it. Fabergé Cosmetics is a fine company, but I'm just saying in the past...
No, but who's in it now, Institute of Policy Studies, which you're alleging is a communist front group?
It's a known KGB front group. The FBI had files on them. They're so powerful, they took the FBI to court, and the FBI had to destroy their files on the Institute for Policy Studies.
But I'm saying, if we looked it up on the Internet, who's running it today?
I'm not sure the names, if you want specific names of who's actually in charge today, but it used to be like Cora Weiss. It used to be Samuel Rubin, the Rubin Foundation. There's a lot of new names now. It's like a cancer. It metastasizes. It just has a lot of spin-offs.
Why don't these people realize what happens when communism takes over? Don't they understand what happens to them?
Well, the leaders want that. The leaders want that because they think they'll be in charge. But there's a lot of useful idiots there. And
well, don't they understand that they're not going to be in charge? Usually they eat their own, and they usually arrest and assassinate their own friends right off the bat because they're the only ones that could actually expose them for what they are. Take a look at what Castro did after he came to power with the People's Revolution. He arrested and imprisoned several thousand of his own compadres, some of whom are still rotting in prison.
That's true. Listen, there's a great book that was written on Institute for Policy Studies. It was called Covert Cadre. Has pictures of the KGB agents inside. Has a diagram showing the spin-off groups. They are immensely powerful, and they work directly with terrorists, and they don't even hide the fact.
How are we going to come back from this, Jimmy? It's only 1 year and a few months into this Marxist regime. The capo of this regime is drunk with his power. He knows no limits. When is this man going to be stopped, and how can he be stopped by a democratic process? Can it still work? Can a democratic process still rein this man in before we reach a tipping point where it's too late to go back?
We're going to need the Democrat congressmen and senators, even if they're leftist, if they're not communist, if they could be woken up to the
right.
threat.
Now, isn't that what I just said 2 weeks ago, that only the Democrat Party can stop this man? When even they come to realize how dangerously out of control he is and where he's taking the country. Doesn't Biden know? I don't think Biden knows anything. I think he's actually kind of a nice, dumb guy, doesn't know what's going on around him.
I think you're right on that. But it's gonna take the people to wake up, and they're going to have to understand.
Well, who in the Democrat Party is not a god-darn communist, Marxist-Leninist? Who in their party is a centrist Democrat anymore?
Probably some of the southern ones. There are probably some here and there. I mean, Mayor Koch was a liberal, but it was a loyal American. You know, there are some people like that who can't believe what happened or don't understand it, but they're going to have to take back the Democrat Party. The American people are going to have to penetrate the American government. The American people are going to have to penetrate the media, the school boards, the teachers' unions. We're going to have to take it back. The Tea Party movement looks good, but it has to become an anti-communist movement, too.
Before we go on the Tea Party movement, what's going on right now is classic communist operation where they penetrate a group and they send in agents provocateurs to say the N-word or to commit some kind of violence, and then they discredit the organization or the movement itself. That's exactly what they're doing right now, but they're doing it nakedly.
It's called discredit from within. It's taught in the Communist Party training schools.
That's exactly right, and that's what the Democrat Party itself has become. It's a communist front group unto itself. Jimmy, let me send you a copy of Banned in Britain, the Savage Nation hat, and I'm going to send you a mug. All three things, okay? At least you'll have a nice week next week. Stay on the line. I'll be right back.
Savage.